Want to know how to build a powerful email list without relying on social media? In today's episode of The Blogger Genius, I am sitting down with email expert Kylie Kelly, and she is sharing her bold, unconventional email strategies that drive sales from day one. Ever wonder why email converts so much better than social media? Kylie spills the secrets, and they might surprise you. We're talking about why you should sell from your very first email, even if everyone says don't do that. Plus, if you want to grow your email list right now with zero hassle for free, I've got you covered. Just go to MiloTree.com, sign up for our free plan, and start offering your freebie or lead magnet in about 10 minutes. Let's dive in to this episode with Kylie Kelly. Kylie, welcome to the Blogger Genius podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
How does email directly make you money?
I love this question. I love this topic. I think that it starts with the realization that our audience buys in the inbox, right? So we need to come to the table with the fact that they might be hanging out on social, but they buy in the inbox. So growing our email list needs to be this intentional thing where we're growing it full of our ideal clients, which I know you teach on, growing it full of the right people so that we can invite them to our offers and they buy inside the inbox.
Is it that when you've got somebody on your list, you can present yourself in a more human way and therefore they get to know you and therefore they get to trust you? Or is it that you can kind of market your products in email in a way you can't do on social media? What is that benefit?
You know what? I think it's both. I think it is more of an intimate connection with our audience because it feels more like a one-on-one conversation that we're having. So we do get to build like a deeper level of trust, absolutely, than on social. Plus, our audience is guaranteed to see it, right? We are more likely for them to actually open our emails than to see us if they're scrolling on social media. So there's that piece. But then also, I think that when we build our offer ladder in a way that's intentional, so we have a free resource, which I know you teach, like you have a free resource that gives them that first little win or that first step, leads them to a product, we can then market it in a really intentional way instead of just thinking about what's trending on social media and what do we point out and dance to and how do we get people to see this random offer. It's a bit more of an intentional thing, I think.
Okay, so the word you keep using is intentional. Can you unpack what that means in terms of strategy?
Yeah, so the way that I think about intentional, and it comes from my own experience and seeing other people as well, is we need to have this intentionality behind how we're building our list. So very much at the moment in the online space especially, there are trending things to build our list, right? There's bundles, collaborations, things like that are really popular because we get really quick results from them. But what I've seen as mistakes being made is people then just submitting to random things to grow their list and not really thinking about, well, hang on, is my perfect person, is my ideal client actually going to be a part of this collaboration? Am I actually putting something into this bundle or collaboration that's going to attract them? And then what does that journey look like? Instead of just, it's almost like the vanity numbers in email, right? Instead of just looking at the total number on our list, I think that's why they say the smaller list can be powerful as well. It's more about who's on the list rather than how big it is and attracting the right people.
Do you explain how people grow their emails through bundles, through collaborations, like what that looks like, and then how to figure out if this bundle or this collaboration is right for me, and maybe even I should start my own so that I can figure out how to get in front of those right people?
Yeah, of course. So I think the main thing is, let's unpack what it is first. So in case somebody's listening that doesn't actually know what we're talking about. So a bundle is like a digital giveaway, right? So somebody hosts it. Let's say I'm hosting it. I'll invite contributors to be a part of it. They'll give me a digital product that's normally something that they sell. They'll give it to me and people can access it for free if they sign up for this bundle. So they give me their name and email address. They get access to that list. They can choose what they go and sign up for. Really fast way to grow your email list because you're leveraging all of these audiences.
So let's say it's a blogger bundle, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to go sign up for those individual things that are interesting to me. Is that it? Or do I get everything and then everybody gets all those emails?
No. The first way. So it's very much up to the person signing up, what they want access to and whose lists they're getting added to as well, which I think is a really important thing to point out. So generally speaking, you would sign up through like a registration page. So let's say it was the biggest blogger bundle 2025, you would sign up to the bundle and then you normally get redirected to like a gift page where it has all those links and the descriptions and images, and you can go through and be like, yes, I want that. Nah, that doesn't interest me, and select what you want from there. And then you get added to those email lists that you sign up for. Yeah.
Okay. And then let's talk about collaborations.
Yeah, so what you need to be thinking about, and we'll take this back to the ideal client conversation. So perhaps if you are like a B2C business or your ideal client isn't there in that bundle world, bundles might not be the best option for you. So then we think about, okay, so how can we leverage other people's audiences in a way that still grows your email list full of our ideal clients? So things like freebie swap. So if we were to do a freebie swap, Jillian, it'd be like, you share my free resource to your list, I share yours to my list, and we both grow that way. Things like that can be really, really powerful, and especially because they are more of an intimate way. The trust that your audience has comes over to me a little bit, and the same goes back and forward. So if your audience isn't in the bundle world, or if you're a little bit intimidated and like, oh, that feels a little bit too scary, freebie swaps or lead magnet swaps are a great place to get started.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so of those two, you're kind of leaning toward more intimate collaborations.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, especially in the online space where it's so busy as well, the more intimate ones, I don't know, I think they feel better and they're easier to manage and things as well.
Now, what if your list is double the size of my list?
Well, look, again, that happens, right? So when you're doing things like freebie swaps, you need to have some sort of list to get started, right? So you can't really, like, I wouldn't pitch you to do a freebie swap if I was at like 10 subscribers and you were at 1,000. Like, that doesn't feel fair. It needs to be a little bit of a fair exchange. However, I will say, don't let that stop you either, because even if you had double the size email list, maybe my list is a perfect fit for you and it would still be really powerful. So I wouldn't get too stuck in the numbers. I'd be thinking more about, okay, does this feel aligned? Does this feel good for both of us? And then go from there.
So let's now go back to the word intentionality. Talk to me then about how I grow my list with this strategy of intention before I even agree to join the bundle or the collaboration. Like, how do I really think this through?
Yeah, so you really need to get really clear on who you're wanting to attract, who your ideal client is, and how you help them. So that's like the first piece of any puzzle, right? You need to be really clear, okay, who do I actually want to serve? How am I going to serve them? And I know you teach this with your lead magnets. It's like, okay, then coming up with that one thing, that one step that is a part of the bigger puzzle that's going to lead them to that main offer, that dream offer that you want them to be in. To be intentional with this, we have to be really clear on who we want to attract and almost filter all our decisions through that. So when we are starting to think about growing our list, like filtering everything that we think about through, am I doing this for my ideal client? Will they be a part of this collaboration? Would they be in their audience? Would this resource be appealing to them? Would this help them? Like really thinking about that relationship that we're wanting to build. And if we can do that and be intentional and think about that through that filter, it's only going to lead to good things.
Okay, so what you're saying is this can't be a scattershot strategy. For the longest time, it was like, I don't know what the point is. And now I think people understand, especially with Google algorithm updates and AI content. And email is actually the place most people sell. I think people get that. But then they go, well, I'll think of my product later, or I'll get my strategy together later. What I hear you saying is no, because ultimately, if you attract 10,000 people, that's awesome. But if they're the wrong people who aren't interested in your niche, those are 10,000 people that you're paying for, which is expensive, and they're not going to buy from you.
Yeah. And I see this all the time when people go after the numbers. And it's the same with social media, right? We have this like shiny number in our minds that we want to reach. And I think when we go after that number and we're not thinking about, well, hang on, what is the strategy here? What am I actually trying to do? That's when you'll see people grow their list and then not be able to sell. Then go into a launch and it be crickets. And yeah, there's probably other things at play here too, right? There's a whole strategy that we don't have time to talk about launch strategy, but there's a whole strategy there. But when you boil it all back, most of the time it's that there's the wrong people on their list because they haven't been intentional with who they're growing their list with. So yeah, it has to start from that place and reverse engineering it back, right? So we have that journey in mind, makes it so much simpler because they're not coming up with like a million different resources or a million different products and like just trying and getting frustrated because nothing's working, and that whole like ball of overwhelm and like uncertainty that comes when we don't have that intentional strategic plan in place.
It's funny, just even in my own business, I think it takes longer than most people recognize to get that clarity. Like you think you're clear, and then I don't know, something happens like every 2 months. I go, wait a minute, like a new piece of clarity shows up, and I'm like, how did I not think of this? So I do feel like for those of you listening, going, yeah, but I know I'm supposed to get really clear. Like put it out, I say, into the universe and just start noodling, like start playing around, start pitching it to people and saying, what am I selling? Is this a good problem to be solving? Like just getting conversation with people, with yourself, with journaling, with ChatGPT, but recognize for some people it's super clear because their niche is very obvious. But for other people, I find just keep asking yourself over and over again, if you can, talk to people who are your email subscribers on social media, who are people that you admire, and look at them and go, what are they solving? What can I borrow from them to find that clarity? Because you think like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I know what I solve. I know what problems, what products I should create. And it's like not that easy. It's not as easy as that.
I 100% agree. And also being open to the fact that things change, which is so frustrating, especially for those like me that like to control. Like I am a control freak. I like to set my plan and then it goes to plan, and that never happens, right? So I think also being open to, having that flexibility of like, okay, it might be working today, but tomorrow, I don't know, stuff might change and I might need to tweak something. So like even as an example, my membership now, which is 2 years old, the Email Growth Club, all of a sudden the sales pages stopped converting. So I'm like, interesting. It was converting great. I didn't do anything, but obviously something in the market, something in the way people are talking, something about the verbiage I'm using, like there's something there that's just not hitting anymore. So I have to go back to the drawing board, which is my plan actually later today, do some voice of customer research, talk to my people, what am I missing here? And I think that that's really important for us to even talk about, because often we see these successful business owners that have this business where it looks like everything is easy.
Yes.
But that's not true. Like things
true.
change all the time.
I agree. Okay. Where does social media fit in to email growth?
Wherever you want it to. For me, not really anywhere. I don't use social media. I show up on my Instagram stories because I enjoy that. And it's normally to share when I'm doing an ice bath or going for a walk or doing something that I'm like, oh, this is exciting. But I don't use it to market my business. I do spend some time in the DMs if I'm pitching people for an event. Like if I have an audio summit coming up and I want to connect with some new people, I might use Instagram for that. But I have a 9-grid up. I don't sell through Instagram. And I made that pivot because when I looked at my data and my analytics in Instagram, I was getting no clicks. It was like 5 clicks a month or something to my website. And yet I was putting all of this effort into making it look beautiful, into trying to do what was cool and trendy. And I just realized I'm not that person. I'm not the dancer. I'm not going to play that game when it doesn't work.
You are the second person within the last month who has said, I looked at my data, and while Instagram feels like where the cool kids hang out and I want to be one of those cool kids, it a lot of times isn't really worth the effort that goes into it. So for you, you're saying, no, I'm not doing the Instagram TikTok thing.
Yeah.
Now for people though who are successful, who are the cool kids, how are they taking social media, turning it into email subscribers?
Well, again, it comes back to the intentional word, right? So it's very much trying to drive that traffic over to their email list. So the smartest social media marketers, and there's some really successful ones that I'm friends with, they're always driving their audience to their email list. So they're sharing their opt-in pages, they're sharing their lead magnets, they're putting new spins and angles on things. They're doing reels and test reels, trial reels, whatever they're called, to get to it in front of a new audience to drive them to their email list. So I think thinking about email as like your home base, it's always like the center. And however you choose to market your business, always trying to drive those followers, that audience back to something that you own. That's like the power move. That's like what every business owner needs to be doing.
What are your favorite lead magnets? For you, for your clients, for your members? Where have you been like, oh, that's a good idea?
I think honestly the best performing ones, quizzes. Quiz lead magnet is always fun to do. I always love those like cosmopolitan style quizzes that are like fun and a bit tongue in cheek, but you've got to give your email address over to get the answers. And
now, do you and like
really
using like quiz software?
Yeah, I use Try Interact.
Try Interact, yes.
Yeah. I find that the easiest and most straightforward, and I've had great success with that. So yeah, I love a quiz lead magnet. For me, myself, I sign up to a lot of private podcasts. I've got 2 little kids, so listening while I'm doing the dishes or out for a walk is really, really useful for me. So I know that people like me and my audience love the audio lead magnets. But then also, again, if we're intentional, a checklist, a PDF, something that they can consume really easily and really quickly. As long as the content's good, I don't think the container matters all that much.
Oh my God, say that again.
So as long as the content is good, I don't think the container matters all that much.
I think that we all get very perfection-y about, and we can't separate out the content from the container. And it's funny, I've shared this previously. I use this software and it's really ugly, but it's really straightforward and I'm totally cool with it. And I didn't even notice that until one day I kind of stepped back and I was like, this is really ugly, but it's very intuitive. It's easy to use. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even notice how ugly it was. Or functional.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't ugly, but like nobody had thought about, we need to style this up. And so I totally agree with you that if you're poking at something where people want the answer, they want the quiz answer, what is my personality? There's real curiosity there. People will give you their email address to find out the answer. And therefore it isn't so much about, oh my God, my checklist looks so beautiful.
I love that. And I think like I call myself a recovering perfectionist. I struggled with that big time. When I first released my podcast, the Email Growth Show, I used to edit it within an inch of its life. I used to take away any size, any breaths, any like I was so pedantic about that. And then one day, I think I ran out of time and I just released it. Got the same amount of downloads. I got the same amount of feedback. And I was like, oh, they're not here for that. Like they're not here for the perfection, the perfect, podcast episode. They're here for the content. As long as that content is good, people will forgive a lot, I think, because they're getting something from it.
Absolutely. Like I don't edit out breaths because I weirdly think there's something human about it. And so I'm like, no. I want those little mistakes or those little sounds that are human. I won't edit out the ums, for example. I don't have the time. And it's just, I'm like, if somebody is not going to listen because of that, then maybe they're not my person.
Yeah.
So let's talk about then content of emails. Somebody now joined your list. You know where they came from. So okay, they wanted to solve a little problem. They're interested in healthy eating or moisturizers or whatever it is. Then how do I think about this person? They are warm, right? This is like the warmest they will ever be.
I love this. So interestingly, I used to have the traditional kind of post sign up funnel. I'd have a welcome sequence that was like 4 to 5 emails long. We'd talk about me a little bit. We'd talk about them a little bit. We'd tell them what to expect, yada, yada, yada. We've seen it all. There's templates out there everywhere. I've just recently transitioned away from that to a one email. So when they sign up for something, as a part of that delivery email is the components of what would have went. It's not a very long email, but there's still the components of what would have went into like 4 or 5 email welcome sequence. So it's still introducing me a little bit. It's still connecting. It's still asking them to reply. Like it's still there, but it's in the delivery email, which does get the most opens, the most clicks, the best response from a
So is there like a link to, let's say, get the results or download the freebie in that follow-up email?
Exactly. So it's that first email. So they sign up and then this is the very first thing they get. At the top's like, hey, here's the thing you wanted. By the way, I'm Kylie. This is what I do. I've got my podcast. This is an episode you might like. Because I know what they've signed up for, I can link an episode that relates to that topic. I even have one, because I do have these emails that are different for different things that they sign up for. So I also have one, the PS that I'm selling. Hey, I've got this membership. You might be interested. Check it out here.
So you are selling in that first email?
In that first email. In the very first email.
Because that is like such a typical no.
I know.
No, you have to warm people up and you have to show why you're an authority and you have to provide value and you're saying no.
Why don't we try something different? Like I just thought this is what everyone's doing and I love to test new things. So I just tried it and it is amazing. Getting sales, the highest open rate, click rates, like performing really well. But then what I do as well, because I've been intentional, because I know where I want them to go.
So ultimately you want them to join your membership
or mastermind. I also have a high ticket mastermind. So it's one or the other. They're my 2 main offers. So in that email funnel, so they get that delivery email, but also
Are you selling both your membership and your mastermind in that first email, or are you selling something lower priced?
I do the membership in that first email because the mastermind high ticket might be a little bit hard to swallow when they've just met me. Membership's a lot lower price. So in that first email, introducing myself, also selling, also linking to value. It's all there in that first email. And then I do have a nurture sequence. So now instead of having the welcome sequence, that welcome sequence has been replaced by 3 or 4 emails that are nurturing them towards the solution I want them to end up in. So that are talking about like let's say it's the membership. Then the next email is talking about why they can actually not be on social media if they don't want to be, how there are other options, how their email list is so important and this is why, and what they're missing out on by not growing their email list, and then how the Email Growth Club can help them. So it's literally first email that they get, getting the resource, doing the things I need it to do, and then nurturing them towards a sell. Bam. And then after that, they're on my list.
So here's a question. You're selling the membership at the bottom of the first email. This nurture sequence. So if they purchase, they move out of this. They're not going to get the nurture sequence. However, if they haven't purchased, but now they've been exposed to it, you're going to go, hey, like you might have missed it in the first email or not thought this was for you. I'm going to tell you why this would be really beneficial.
Exactly. And because in that first email, it's only in the PS. It's only quite a simple call to action in the PS. It's not driving home the problem, the solutions, all the things. In that sequence, I'm showing social proof. I'm literally doing almost like a little mini launch funnel, right? A little mini launch sequence towards one specific offer.
What I think is interesting about what you're saying is you get very pointed from the beginning. You're not then in email 2 going, let me tell you about me and a funny story about my kids at the park that is a little bit related to email, because I know you're sophisticated enough to know not to just tell a story about your kids, but that, and then there's the email about random, like what is the best opt-in, or, you're providing value, but it's a little, again, more scattershot. Like I'm just like, hey, we're just hanging over the next couple emails. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about like maybe the best email services and the best this and whatever. And then you get into selling. You're like, here's the deal. We're going to offer it in the PS. And then I'm just going to tell you why this product is for you rather than let's be best friends.
Can I ask you a question? Like, who has time for that? This is the thing that I sort of was stuck on, because my audience, like me, I'm time poor. Like, I don't want to go, and we all are smart, savvy buyers now, right? We've all been through these funnels and we know what's going on when we're in a welcome sequence. We know what it's leading to. We know what they're trying to do. And so with that in mind, no, if they want to find out more about me, they can come listen to the podcast. There's everything that's linked there. I've just given them something really valuable. Now let me help you. Let me show you what I have. And hey, if you don't want it, if you don't buy into the membership or the mastermind, that's okay. Like, you're going to be on my list to get my story-based emails about things in my life or that we can relate to and warm up even more. But you're here for a reason. You've just gotten this valuable thing from me. I want to help you more. So let me show you that now. Let's not like pussyfoot around it, right? Like, let me show you exactly what it is.
So somebody goes through your nurture sequence and doesn't buy. What now?
Then they're just on my email list for my weekly emails.
And you send weekly emails. And how often in those weekly emails are you selling? What are you selling? What is the next thing you're thinking about being intentional about?
Yeah, so I send probably 2 to 3 emails a week. I started out with the weekly emails and now it's probably 2 or 3 emails a week.
What are you saying in these 2 or 3 emails a week?
Yeah, well, because I have a podcast, right? So I'm sharing the podcast episode and maybe a lesson from it or what I liked out of it or highlighting the guest or whatnot in one of them. Another one might be a story-based thing that they can relate to. But again, like you said, it's not just a story for the sake of a story. It might even just be like a sentence or 2 about my week and then be like, hey, this is what I've got coming up. This is what I'm doing. I've got this free class, or did you grab this? Have you seen this before? I have a membership. Like, I will sell in nearly every email. Like, I will have a call to action for people to buy things because we are a business, and as long as we do it respectfully and in a way that feels good for both of us. I mean, I don't get emails from, if you think about big companies, like I don't get emails from, what's an American one? Like TJ Maxx. Is that American or is that UK? I'm not sure. But I don't get emails from big companies just saying hi and telling me a story. Yeah. Like there's always a selling reason.
There's a sale. There's new spring fashion. There's, yes. That's an interesting prism to look at this. I've stopped, when they'd be like, hey, Kylie, and they'll be personalized. And they go, oh, you want to personalize your emails because then you feel like you're hearing your own name and I look like I know you. And I feel like for us, we've made the decision that when people sign up, I don't even ask for their name. I just want their email. Because at the end of the day, I feel like people are savvy. And if all of a sudden it says, hi, Kylie, maybe you'll like that, but you're not going to buy my product because I say, hi, Kylie. And you know that I've just put that field thing in, that I am not typing this email to you going, Kylie, hello there. I am sending an email to lots of people. And so that personalization to me feels fake.
Oh, I'm not judging that at all. I have a lot of friends that do that because, again, it removes one friction point when people sign up. It's less that they have to import. You're going to get more signups, absolutely. And I think, as you said, like we know what's going on. So of course, if I haven't ever met you in real life, like, of course you don't know me, not know my name. Like, so saying, hey friend, hey, that's absolutely fine. I don't think it takes away from any part of the strategy.
Because I guess I just go, what is real? What do people think? And therefore, I'm going to do something that's easier for you. And then I can just go, hey, friend, which is what I do. So, okay, good. I'm glad.
Can I ask you a follow-up question, though?
Please.
When you when you're in like a launch period and you're very like focused on selling a specific thing, do you do personalized follow-ups with people that have clicked on the sales page or that have like interacted with that launch?
Yes.
And then what do? You can't call them by their name because you don't have their name.
I still don't. I guess I just kind of, here's the thing, like I don't even need to do like a hey. It could be for the next 24 hours. This is, like what you were saying, and I'm going to be thinking about this, where you're just like, what are we doing? Why are we pussyfooting around when at the end of the day, I can help you? Maybe I can't help you. And then you should get off my list. So it's like, but if you need help, I can help you. Therefore, this makes sense versus, hey, I don't want to go hard for the sale because I want you to know that like we're friends. Like, I don't know. There's something I think very honest about this is what I provide. I provide real value. Maybe this is the right thing you're looking for. If it is, great, go grab it because I stand by what I sell. And that, like, I'm not leaving town with your money. I am really going to deliver. Therefore, I don't need to be like fake friending you.
Yes. 100%. I agree with everything that you just said.
So I feel like there's something about this conversation is about intentionality and getting real.
And I think it's also, Jillian, like I think it is respecting and thinking about our audience as intelligent human beings
who are busy.
Yeah, we don't have time. And the more we can sell as well, like, and I'm not getting into this political conversation, but like I think because we're seeing what's going on in the world, like let's put money in the hands of good people. Like, so sell through your email. What's the worst? Someone unsubscribes, great. They weren't your person. They were never going to buy from you. Let them go. Stop paying for them and focus on the ones that are there. Be yourself, be real, speak to them to the point, get it done, earn more money so we can make the world a better place.
Absolutely. And one thing that I feel like my audience struggles with, I think we all do, especially women, I'm going to call us out, is selling, is saying, buy my product. So when you are writing text that is like, buy my product, how do you couch it?
Oh, well, it depends. Okay, so that's a depends answer because it depends on the email that I'm sending. So let's say I'm in a launch, like I just launched my mastermind, had a very focused launch for that. The very last email, the cart close, was a very much like buy, like enroll. If this is for you, here's the button, click it, I'll see you inside. However, I wouldn't send that at the very start of the launch, right? So I think it does depend on where you are in that sales cycle and how strong you want to be in your copy. We need to make sure that we have done what we need to do. We have told them all about it. We have painted the problem and they know what the problem is and they know it's a solution. We've shown social proof and testimonials. They trust us. Like, we need to do all of that sort of foundation
Speak to
building.
their objections. Speak directly to their objections. Yeah.
Exactly. Before we're very strongly, this is the thing, go and buy it. But yeah, I think there is a time and place for both sides of that, definitely.
And for your launch, let's say, how many days is it?
Oh, so I'll run you through what I did. So I had an audio summit called Inside the Inbox that I run every quarter. That audio summit was a 3-day event, but I ended up extending the free access for a little bit longer. I had 1,100 women, ideal clients, sign up for it, which was amazing.
Wow. Running ads to get people to sign up.
No, I had no ads. I haven't done that many ads. I'm still a newbie when it comes to paid traffic. It's very much, again, like we were talking about before, like the speakers, I was leveraging their audiences. They were promoting it, bringing their audience to the event as well. After the event, I then went into a period of painting a little bit of a picture. Like, you've just gone through this audio event. So what's next? Where do we go to from here? How do you implement what you've just learned? This is what I've got for you. And then I started talking about the problem. I thought it's about getting your name being the headliner act, right? The main act. Let's get your name in lights. Like, however that feels good for them. We do press and PR and a lot of other stuff, but it was very much painting the problem, highlighting the mastermind as the solution. And I ran into a full-on launch afterwards. I will admit, I was uncomfortable because it was a lot of emails in a very short period of time. So I'd had the event and then I rolled into the launch. The cart was open for 7 days. In that 7 days, I sent 22 launch emails, 22. So like, again, as an email strategist, if I can't do that, if I can't stretch that part of me so that I'm comfortable, if I can't just see what happens, there's something wrong. I shouldn't be teaching email marketing.
And how did it work out?
Amazing. I ended up with 4 women jumping in. It was pretty high ticket. It was like 3,500 or 5,500 for 6 months, depending on the support. So again, this was a new audience that had come through. My goal was like between 5 and 10. I was really happy with the 4 that started with me, that enrolled. And the best part, I thought that I would have pissed people off. I thought that people would have left. Like, I was like in my brain with my inner critic telling me all those stories, even as somebody 2 years into my business, right? And yet my unsubscribe rate was steady. There was no big jumps. I was the same. My click rate stayed between 40 and 60% like normal. Oh, so my open rate, 40 to 60% like normal. My click rate was the same as what it normally is. Like, the world didn't end. I survived, and I had 4 beautiful women that enrolled because of it, which created more income in my business. It's like 25K over 6 months, Australian dollars, that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't have stuck through. Because as well, just to add, the middle of that launch, dead quiet. Dead quiet.
Say, like, this is something I think we've all learned. Do not expect, like, you get sales at the beginning and sales at the end. Mm-hmm. And in the middle, you might get no sales.
Mm-hmm. And that's the battleground within ourselves, right? That is the battleground that in the past, the less experienced Kylie would have like freaked out, pulled the pin, spiraled that it was horrible and no one wanted it. But because I know better, I was like, no, people are interested. Look at the data, take the emotion away, look at the data. People are just considering, they're thinking, what else can I tell them? What else can I show them? How can I make the ones that are ready for it this a no-brainer?
When you were sending the emails, had you written all of them before, or were you doing that where you're seeing like, hey, like, were you being flexible during, or was everything all scripted before?
I had written them before, but with the mindset of changing them as I went. So the first half of them I sent pretty much as is, and it was only in that middle period where it was quiet. I was like, okay, let's change the call to action to reply. Let's do some more personal reach outs. Let's record a video so they can see my face, even if I'm just talking through the sales page. Because it was a Google Doc sales page, Jillian, as well. It wasn't like a fancy schmancy thing. It was the first time that I was running it. So it was like a Google Doc. So I was like, oh, let's record a video so they can connect with me because they haven't seen my face yet. Things like that I then added just so they could feel more comfortable for the ones that did want to purchase.
Wow. Okay. Again, you've been very validating. Plus, I feel like I have learned from you, and my main takeaway is this idea of just get to it. Just get to it. And it doesn't have to have all this other fake stuff around it. And your business, know what you're doing and know you provide value. Does that resonate?
Absolutely. And just, I think, be kind to yourself as well. Like, I think so often we expect or we want the results that come after experience and after testing and after like, we want that now, right? I mean, I do, but it's not like that. It does take time. It does take tweaking. It does take testing. It does take trying again, falling on our face and trying again. And I think being okay with that and knowing that's part of the journey as well, so we're kind to ourselves, I think that is what then keeps us in the game.
That is such a wonderful way to close. We're business, we're talking strategy, all this stuff. And at the end of the day, be kind to yourself. I think that's really powerful. I think we all need to remind ourselves that we all struggle and we all have those crazy voices in our heads that say, pull the plug, you're pissing people off, you're not likable, you're too salesy, you're too aggressive. And to go, no, let's quiet that voice. Let's look at the data. Let's keep going. The world's not going to end.
Yes, absolutely.
Kylie, if people want to connect with you, read more about you, learn, where are you? Where can people reach out?
Yes, my website is the best place. So it's just kyliekelly.com. There is a free guide there that helps you get started with collaborations if you're wanting to grow your list. So that's on the homepage. I have the podcast, the Email Growth Show. Of course, go and listen to that or drop into my inbox. You could send me messages on Instagram, but I might not see them for days. So inbox is much better place to reach out.
And what is your email address?
Yeah, hello@kyliekelly.com.
Awesome. Well, I have to say, I think you are a breath of fresh air, and you've given lots of good insights into email marketing. Everybody start growing your list if you're not. And if you are growing your list, put some more intention there because it's really valuable.
Yes, and start selling. Don't be scared.
And start selling. Yes.
Let's make some money.
Kylie, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I've loved this conversation.
Hope you guys like this episode. For me, my biggest takeaway is how powerful it is to sell from your very first email. Kylie's approach is so refreshing. She reminds us that being clear, confident, and intentional not only saves time, but also drives real results. Also, if you're looking to grow your list and start selling immediately, don't forget about MiloTree's free plan. So with MiloTree, you can create your first digital product and sell it, offer your first freebie, and install one of our social media pop-ups on your site to grow your social following. No credit card needed. Just go to milotree.com to get started. MILOEE. If you think a friend would benefit from this episode, please share it. If you're enjoying the podcast, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss next week's episode, and I will see you here again very soon.